Okay, finally, we're getting to talk about the iTunes. Guys. Big update right here. Huge. Maybe not huge to you, but this could really take Apple further than they already are, if that's the best way of explaining it. Okay, basically, Steve Jobs stood up on stage yesterday and basically admitted, which is very cool of him to do this, he admitted that their movie sales on iTunes did not meet expectations. And yeah, basically, who really wants to buy a movie between $10 and $15 online? And like he said, most people watch a movie once, maybe a few times, and that's exactly myself included. I don't watch a movie a few times. I mean, unless it's one I really love, like Finding Nemo, or I can definitely see myself watching Ratatouille again soon, and classics and stuff. But basically, online, I don't see myself doing that often. However, since yesterday, that's all going to change, because if you haven't heard by now, Apple officially announced that iTunes is now offering movie rentals via their service. Guys, this is so sweet. I'm not a big fan of online rentals, but that's when it comes to music, because I like to own my music. But when it comes to movies, I'm all for it. So basically, they have all major studios behind us, so they are basically good to go. They just gotta hope the customers pay the money, and I don't see why not, because the prices are very competitive. So very cool. So let's start right away. For library titles, like movies that came out a while ago but are obviously available for rental, are $2 if I can talk, $2.99. Guys, $2.99 is not bad. That's cheaper than Blockbuster. I think Blockbuster is like what, $5 or something. And then $3.99 for new releases, like say 300 for example, even though it's not that new anymore, but just as an example. Guys, that's really cool. And iTunes now offers HD movies. Thank God. This is even bigger. So for an HD movie, you would pay $1 more. So you would pay $3.99 for an HD library title and $4.99 for an HD new release. So guys, this is so sweet, and this is great for college. For those of you who don't know, I go to Stockton College of New Jersey, and sometimes college life can get pretty boring when you're just working on your computer and you have nothing else to do, and you find yourself just listening to music, watching podcasts. But guys, I can finally rent a movie on iTunes. So sweet, and I definitely see myself paying $3 or $4 for a movie, and you have 30 days to begin it and 24 hours to finish it. So basically, you have to start the movie within 30 days and finish it within 24 hours, which is plenty of time for me because, yeah, and you can even sync it over to your iPod or iPhone or iPod Touch, whatever you use, and then finish it on that device within 24 hours, and you're good to go. That's so cool. So yeah, this kind of segues into my next topic, so let's just leave it at that. So as I was saying, Apple just came out with iTunes rentals, and this segues into this topic, which is Apple TV. Take two, as Apple calls it. But officially, I think it's still called Apple TV and only Apple TV, which is good because, yeah. Okay, so Steve Jobs admitted that the first one didn't quite work out, and from feedback, Apple said the customers, the main thing they wanted from the Apple TV was movies, as Steve Jobs' slide said in his keynote yesterday. So this works out perfectly. Good timing. Well, obviously they planned it this way with the iTunes rentals that was just announced. And guys, this is great. This makes the Apple TV a much better and much more appealing experience. But firstly, the number one feature about this, you can now buy content right from your sofa on the Apple TV. This is something they needed from the start. Admittedly, I was not a big fan of the Apple TV when it first came out. I didn't think it would take off too well, and quite frankly, I was right, because they even admitted, like I just said, that sales weren't that great. But the fact that you can buy content right from the Apple TV without syncing it first from your Mac, or PC, I believe it works on PC too. Yeah, it does. This just makes it much more convenient and much more appealing and much more worth the price. So, yeah, there you go. And it has a brand new interface, and this interface and all these features are free upgrades to current users, which is very cool of Apple. So yeah, this is much more appealing to me, as I've said before. I know I tend to repeat myself, but I've kind of wanted an Apple TV before, but I've kept telling myself, David, do you really need one? And I kept telling myself, no, not really. Not that I talk to myself, but you know when you make decisions, whatever. So, but however, this new iTunes Rentals thing makes it so much cooler that you can buy content right from your sofa or chair, whatever you sit on the floor, at the straight sidewalk or roof of a house, whatever. That was a joke. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Apple TV is much more appealing now, and they also dropped the price. I didn't write it in my notes, or I don't have the browser up, but I think 40 gigabyte model sells for $229 now. It used to be $299, and 160 gigabyte model, I think that's the size of it, sells for $329 instead of $399, which is very cool. I could definitely see myself getting one of these one day when I have my own real apartment, not college apartment, when I eventually live my own without roommates and stuff. And I would definitely use it very often, I think, because I'm the kind of person that will love to come home from work one night and just know that my podcasts and my TV shows are automatically synced on my Apple TV, and there's no computer needed whatsoever. It's all done right from that unit, so very cool to Apple. And now I can definitely see sales kicking off. And yeah, basically, Apple, you're doing great with the Apple TV, and I'm glad they made these changes, because now I see it really taking off. And I know I'm repeating myself, but you know what? Who cares? I just want to get my thoughts out there. And I don't want to make this too long, because coming up next is the biggest topic of all, and I have a lot to say about that. So, off with the Apple TV, buy one. I think it ships in 2 weeks, or is it already shipping? I'm not totally sure. But if you're interested, go to apple.com/Apple TV. Oh, basically, another thing, like I said in my last topic, iTunes now offers HD content. HD videos, guys. Well, I know there's been HD podcasts already, but high-definition movies. Guys, this is excellent. The thing about the Apple TV is videos don't look that great on a widescreen high-def TV coming from the Apple TV. But now they can, because they're true HD. Well, it's 720p, but that's good enough for me, because my TV only supports up to 1080i. So, okay, there you have it. Apple TV done. Sorry if that was loud. I just saw my mic waveform go way up into the red. Okay, on to the final topic. Finally, it's time to talk about the most important topic of the keynote, and that is the MacBook Air. Okay, for those of you who don't know yet, go to apple.com/MacBook Air, and you can basically see what's so special about it. Okay, basically, it's an extremely thin version of the MacBook. It's pretty stripped when it comes to features, but, okay, first of all, let me just get into my notes real quick to talk about it. Okay, like I said, it's an extremely thin design. That's pretty obvious. I believe it weighs like 3 pounds. It's totally made out of aluminum and glass. The keyboard is black, which I'm not too crazy about, but it's obviously borrowing some aesthetic features from the iMac, so you know how I feel about that already, so I'm not going to go there. It is a very nice design, though. It's just the keyboard I think they should make white, or at least gray, something like that. Okay, so basically, 13.3-inch screen, which really surprised me. This is definitely a nice plus. Most sub notebooks have like a 12-inch or 10-inch, even like 8-inch, I think, screen. And those are just too small, so you get 13.3-inch screen, which I'm guessing you get the same resolution as the current MacBook, which is nice. Pretty obvious, but it has a built-in eyesight, which is cool. Okay, something that really surprised me is that it comes with 2 gigabytes of memory standard. This is really sweet. I don't know what I was going to say there. I was like, what? Anyway, 2 gig standard, guys, for memory. That's freaking awesome. Well, I would expect Apple to do that with the price they had tagged on this thing. Jeez, really surprised me. But basically, the memory is soldered onto the board, but no big deal, because you're not going to need more than 2 gigs of memory with what you're doing with this notebook, because it's not meant for much. It's just meant for on the go and web browsing, which I'm going to talk about next.